Good morning. Okay, so we're going to move on with our percent problems, but this time you can see we're going to solve percent problems by using a proportion. The proportion that we're going to use is right here. We're going to use the same proportion for every problem. Where it says x over 100, that's going to be our percent. So you're going to put the percent over 100 is equal to the is over the of. Now notice down here it says think of it like this. The is the part and the of is the whole. So I'm going to explain to you what that's going to look like as we go through these problems. The first thing I like to do is come over here and label all parts of my proportion. So percent over 100 equals is over of. So make sure you have split your screen. You're going to need your handheld calculator to solve these problems. So you can pause the video for a minute if you want to get all that ready. Okay, so now I'm going to look for what I see in the problem. I see that it says what percent. I see that it says of 15, and I see is 12. If the question is what percent, that's going to be our x. That's our unknown. Of 15, of goes on the bottom, is 12. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little relatable. If you scored a 12 out of 15 points on a math quiz, the question is what percent is that? 12 out of 15 is equal to what percent out of 100? After you have your proportion set up, you're going to multiply cross products. You always multiply by the x first. So we're going to do 15 times x and 12 times 100. So now we're going to have a one-step equation to solve. So our one-step equation is 15 times what equals 1200. We're going to go back to solving equations just like we did a few months ago. We're going to draw the mirror. We're going to divide both sides by the coefficient. The coefficient is that number attached to x. On the left side, 15 divided by 15 is 1, so that cancels down to x. Now I'm going to go to my calculator and divide 1200 by 15. So you may use your calculator in this chapter to do the math, but I still need to see all of the steps. So that means if you got 12 points out of 15 points possible on a math quiz, you earned an 80%. 80% out of 100% is equal to 12 out of 15. What number is 36% of 50? Again, the first thing I like to do is label all parts of my proportion. It's always percent over 100 is equal to the is over the of, or the part over the whole. Now what I see is what number is, I see 36% and I see of 50. When you have been given a percent in the question, the percent always goes over 100. Now I see of 50. So 50 is going to go on the bottom with the word of, and it says what number is, so we don't know what number is. If you earned a 36% on a math quiz and there were 50 points possible, we're trying to figure out how many points did you earn out of 50 to get a 36% on the math quiz. Cross products. Always multiply by the x first. 100 times x is 100x. 36 times 50. Go to your calculator. Multiply 36 times 50. My calculator says 1800. 100 is the coefficient. So 100 is the number that we have to divide both sides by. Anytime we divide a number by itself, the answer is always going to be 1. So the left side of our equation cancels down to x. Now you can either cross out a 0 pair, cross out another 0 pair, or on your calculator you could do 1800 divided by 100, and that's going to be x equals 18. So on that math quiz that we had talked about, if you earned a 36%, you got 18 points correct out of 50. First thing I like to do is set up my proportion. It's the same formula every time. We put the percent over 100 on the left. We put the is over the of, or the part out of the whole. Now I'm going to look for a percent. I know the percent is going to go over 100. Out here I see is 18, so that's going to go on the top of what number? So the of is our unknown. Now, if you earned a 90% on your math quiz, you got 18 points correct out of what? That's what we're solving. Always multiply your cross products times the x first. 90 times x is 90x. Cross products, 18 times 100 is 1800. Identify the coefficient. The coefficient is the number attached to x. We have to get rid of the coefficient. So this equation is asking 90 times what equals 1800. So remember, the opposite of multiplying by 90 is dividing by 90. 90 divided by 90 is going to cancel, so all we have is x. You can go back to your calculator and divide 1800 by 90. X equals 20. So if you got a 90% on your quiz and you had 18 correct, that means there were 20 problems on the quiz. So now I'm going to have you guys pause the video, and I'm going to have you try these 4 problems on your own, and then go ahead and restart the video and check and see how you did. Okay, so I'm going to go through these just a little bit faster. Percent over 100 equals is over of. I see 80%. I see of 60. And it says what number is, so that's my question mark. Multiply cross products. Always multiply by x first. Identify the coefficient. Divide both sides by the coefficient. X equals 48. I like to set up my proportion first. Percent over 100 equals is over of. 25 is what percent of 40? So I see 25 is, I see of 40, and I see what percent. What percent? I don't know. Let's figure it out. 25 is of 40. What percent out of 100 is equal to a 25 out of 40? Multiply by the x first. So 40 times x is 40x. 25 times 100 is 2500. Identify your coefficient. Divide both sides by 40. Go to your calculator. So right now I'm dividing 2500 by 40 on my calculator, and it says 62.5. So 62.5. And remember, this one we were solving for the percent. So make sure that you label that with a percent if that's what you were solving for. Now, this one looks a little funny, right? Because the numerator is greater than the denominator on that right ratio. 72 is what percent of 45? So let's say that you invited 45 friends to your birthday party, but 72 showed up. If 45 out of 45 would have shown up, that would be 100% of your guest list. But if more people showed up, so if some of those people each invited a friend to come with them, and 72 people out of 45 came, you're going to have more than 100% of your guests at your party. That's an example of how we could get over 100%. So I'm going to my calculator and I'm dividing 7,200 by 45. It says 160. So you had 160% of your guests show up to your party. All right, setting up my proportion. What percent of 5 is 3? Identify your coefficient. Divide both sides by 5. I'm running out of room on this one. So we're going to do 300 divided by 5 is 60. So if you got a 60% on a math quiz, that means you got 3 out of 5 problems correct. All right, we just got 2 more. We're going to work on word problems. As you know, I say every day, the reason I'm teaching you how to solve all these problems is so that you can apply it and solve a real world problem. Of the 147th grade students, 5% are on the track team. How many is this? We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do percent over 100 equals is over of. Now, what do I know? 100% of the 7th graders is 147th graders. And the question says 5% are on the track team. 5% out of 100% of 7th graders are on the track team. How many students is that out of 140? Cross products. I'm going to go to my calculator and multiply 140 times 5 equals 700. Identify the coefficient. Divide both sides by the coefficient. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. Remember, word problems should always be answered with a complete thought. How many students is this? 7 students. And a highlight for the final answer. Last one. Parker was assigned 40 math problems last night. He completed 87.5% of these while in class. How many does he have left to do? Not what percent. How many problems does he have left to do? So your final answer should be how many problems, not what percent. All right, here we go. So I'm going to start over here. Percent over 100 equals is over of. I clearly see 87.5% given to me in the problem. Make that decimal nice and big. He has a total of 40 problems. So that is how much, that's going to tell us how much more he has to do. Cross products, 100 times x, 87.5 times 40. So I'm going to my calculator and it says 3,500. Identify your coefficient. Divide both sides by 100. X equals 35. Now read and reread. Parker was assigned 40 math problems last night. Got it. Check. He completed 87.5% of these while in class. Now watch what I'm going to do with this 35. See what I'm circling down here? 35 is how many he finished in class. Question, how many does he have left to do? Well, if he was assigned 40 and he finished 35 problems in class, He has 5 left to do. Always read the question very carefully. A lot of kiddos are going to think their answer is that x equals 35. That is not what the question was asking. That's going to help you get to your answer, but that's not what the question was asking. How many problems left? 40 minus 35. He has got 5 problems left to do. All righty. That's it, folks. I will see you later.